everyone, this is Deb Fair. I'm with Four Seasons Crafts and an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I want to show you today how to make this card right here. And I thought it would be great to make a card with leftovers from maybe some of the DSP that you have left, and maybe using a stamp set that's a little more fun. So this is the card we're gonna make, and we'll put that right there. The supplies you're going to need is really hopefully some leftovers from other Christmas cards, and you can maybe make one at the last minute for someone else in your neighborhood, or maybe a teacher or someone at church. But you're going to need a half piece of real red cardstock, so cut in half to 5.5 by 4.25, and then folded landscape, so portrait and landscape. And then you need a piece of designer series paper. So this one is from the snowman, this one right here, oops, from the Let It Snow Specialty Designer Series paper. So let me flip this over and bring it in. So this is just some of the paper there. And we are taking just a leftover piece from other Christmas cards. This is the side with the snowman, and we're going to use the side with stripes. And its size is 1.5 by 5.5. So we're going to use that. Then we just need a piece of white cardstock for our stamping, and that is 3 3/4 by 3 inches. And then we're going to need a piece of, in this case, I used a piece of black. In this case, I took another piece of designer series paper. I thought we'll do it just a little differently. And this is 3 inches by 4.25. And then, since we're using the snowman paper and we need this cute little hat, we are going to need just a scrap. So if you have a piece of leftover, we're just going to need one that has the hat on it. And honestly, you could have any hat that you want. I had a little hat that I just cut out. I'll have to look for that later. So those are our supplies as far as paper. The stamp sets I'm using for this particular card, you'll see it has the adorable cows. So we're going to use the Over the Moon stamp set. This is in the 2019-2020 annual catalog, and it is just so cute, so adorable. And then we're going to use the Snowman Season. And this one we're actually using some of the sentiments from it. So those are the two stamp sets. We are also going to use the Snowman Punch, and you'll see that right here is the hat punch that we're going to be using. Now, this one, you could, if you wanted, also just to fussy cut out the hat. But in this case, we have the punch, so we're going to go ahead and use it. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to stamp. So we are going to take our piece of white cardstock, and we are going to stamp our cow in Memento Black. And we're going to take this and just tap and then stamp our cow right on our piece of white paper. And then we have a little thought bubble here that we are going to stamp. However, you'll notice on our card, we want to have our cow dreaming about something that's Christmas, not necessarily hearts. So in this case, we are going to take one of the Stampin' Right markers, and I will tell you something that I did not knowing. I actually took one of the blender pens, not necessarily what you want to color your stamps with, but in this case, we're going to use a Stampin' Right marker, and I have shaded spruce here, so I'm going to take the thicker end, and all you do is you color the area that you want to stamp. Literally that simple. So it's always kind of nice Now, because I said we're doing this with leftover paper, you know, maybe you already did all your Christmas cards and you need one or two. You might not have full sheets of paper. This is perfect because you can use just a little bit of leftover. We breathe on it there just a little bit, and we are going to stamp that, in this case, a little closer this time to our cow. And there we go. Now, I got a little bit of a heart there, but that's okay. I must have not cleaned my stamp set too well, but that's all right. Okay, so now we have our nice cow, and we have the area there. So for our snowflakes to go into. Now we're going to put snowflakes in our thought bubble. So again, we're going to use the snowflakes that came in Snowman Seasons stamp set. And we are going to use Coastal Cabana in this case. Now, I didn't have a black marker, but I think that would probably look pretty good in a black marker. Now, again, I can't have all the snowflakes in my bubble because they just don't fit. So I'm just going to take the end of my stamp pad and I am going to stamp 2 of the snowflakes here. So I think I got a good amount of ink on those 2. And then we are just going to stamp them right inside that little bubble there. And there we go. And we'll just do those 2 for now. Then the next thing we want to stamp is our sentiment across the top. So, always fun. I have to find my sentiment. There it is. So we are going to take this one and we are going to stamp it across the top there. So again, we're going to get out our Memento black ink, and this says, hoping this season builds heartwarming memories. And the thing I love about it is he's thinking about memories. And so what a cute way to use and incorporate both of these stamp sets. I thought it was just adorable. No, that's a little off, but that's okay. We'll work with it, right? We were a little closer there than I wanted to be, but that's totally fine. Now, one of the things I wanted to try on this one that we didn't do on our first card here was I thought it might look kind of cool if we put a little of the Coastal Cabana ink and made a little bit of shadowing around the edges. So we're going to take one of the sponges, and this is one that is cut in 4s. And we're just going to tap a little ink on it and just kind of brush it along the edge in Coastal Cabana because it kind of matches the paper. And it'll give it just a little bit of a softer edge here. And we'll just kind of go around, just provide a little bit of a shadow, and we'll get a whole nother kind of look to our card here. Sorry, got a little off camera there. And you know, you can do this little technique on really any card, or on tags or labels, and it makes for very cute kind of edging. So there we go. There is our cow. Now on this one I painted our cow red, and I think on this one we will paint him in black. So in this case, I am just using a blender pen and my Memento ink. So pretty simple. I love these. They're almost like a marker in any color, right? So we are going to tap, and we're just going to color in our cow here. And we will speed this part of the video up so you don't have to watch me color everything. Perfect. There we go. Now we have our nice cow. We've got some little snowflakes that he's thinking about. And now we're going to assemble our card here. And then we're going to put some finishing touches on it and we will be done. So in this case, first thing we want to do is we want to glue down our piece of DSP. And this one we'll put a little bit more in the center of our card here. And we'll use some glue, which is not coming out so well. There we go. And we will pop that right on the center of our card. And one thing I did notice about this particular designer series paper is when I put it down, normally you get a little wiggle room with the glue, and this one, maybe not as much as you typically do, but came down nicely. All right, so there we go. Now we're going to glue our cow onto our piece of other designer series paper. And again, you could use black, you could use Coastal Cabana, you know, you could even use just another layer of red. So it doesn't have to be anything that always matches. You can really play around and again, use some of those scraps up that you have. I love it. Kind of like we eat leftover turkey. You can use some leftover paper, but no one will know. There we go. And now, before we put this on, and we'll put it on with dimensionals. Actually, we'll do that right now, and then we'll put our cow head on. So we're going to grab some Stampin' dimensionals here and put some on the back. And then we will finish up our card. Now, one other thing we need to do, before we put that on there, is you'll notice we put some of this silver thread. So we have this right here, and we are going to take some of that and also put it on this card. I think it ties in all the sparkles and the colors. So I just keep mine wound with a piece of tape. And then what I find is if I just run it around, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 times, however much you would like to use. And then before you let go, just put your piece of tape right back on here. Then you can just take your scissors and cut that right off. So I'm going to put that up here and we'll just cut that right off. And now, of course, I think we all know, we'll just use a glue dot. So if you just take your thread where you have it together and you just stick a glue dot right there on it. And then it's all together. And now you can just put that right. We'll move this little piece here and kind of stick it up in there as well. And then we'll just kind of put it out. So when it gets covered with our other piece of DSP, we actually can see a lot of it because we want to make it so that it's visible. All right, so you just stick it on there with a glue dot and it stays nicely. And now we're going to take our dimensionals off here and we will put this right on our card. So I don't know how many cards all of you send out. We have a tendency to send out seemingly well over 100 a year. So sometimes you need fast and quick, and then invariably we will be like, oh, did we send so-and-so a Christmas card? And then we'll have to find another one. And so it's nice to have these leftovers that we can easily grab. Now, there we are. Now, I want to show you one thing about the 2 cards. So if you look, you should be able to see some shimmer on this card here. See that? let me get them just a little closer and see if you can see them sparkle. It really adds to the card. So we added some shimmer on the snowflakes, around the hat, and then underneath the puff paint. So that's what I'm going to show you on this one. And it looks great, right? But it needs a little bit of something else. So first we want to give the cow a hat. So we're going to take our punch and our piece of paper, and we'll put in the hat right inside our snowman punch, and we'll punch that right out, and there we go. Look at that. Get that piece out. And now we just add a mini dimensional right on the back of this hat. Here we go. Oops. Get right over there in the camera. And we will pull this off. Always find lots of the little hexagon paperbacks. And we are going to just put that hat right on top of our cow. There we go. Now, if we take our Winkostella, that's what it is. This is like a wonderful tool. And we're just going to run it over. And if I had an eraser here, we could erase that right off, but we won't worry about that right now. But you can see how you can just add nice shimmer. Now if I take this too and I run it along the hat, you can see you can add a lot of cute sparkle right on the edge of the hat. And now you've got some great little sparkle there. And then to top it all off, to kind of finish it up, if you have some puff paint, Stampin' Up! Had this year and it was great. You just kind of give it a good shake. And then we are going to distribute it right at the bottom of our cow here. And we'll just do a couple different kind of layers, be generous with it. And then once it dries, it will look like snow. And you will end up with just a beautiful card that then when, you know, you use leftover paper, you can easily just pull this right out and you have a nice, beautiful card. So thanks for joining, and visit fourseasonscrafts.com if you'd like to purchase any of the supplies listed at the bottom of the video. Thank you. Have a good night. Merry Christmas.